This video is for you if you are a stay-at-home mom and you want to spend time with your kids while they're growing up and earn some extra money on the side. We are talking about Zazzle today, and exciting news. We have our one and only Elke Clarke, my mother, who both her and I are on Zazzle and have been a Zazzle designer since 2007 and now have become coaches. We're interviewing her today and getting a deep dive into her experience when she first started out on Zazzle over 10 years ago, because she wanted to stay at home and work from home and earn money and spend time with myself and my two younger brothers. So this is exciting because there are so many stay-at-home moms out there nowadays that are looking for an extra source of income and definitely want to spend time with their kids while they're growing up, because those years go by so fast. So today we get a little bit of an insight on how my mom's experience went, because Zazzle was the one and only thing that actually ended up working for her after trying to find so many different opportunities to make money online. And Zazzle just stuck because it was the best platform to use. And so welcome to my mom, Elke Clarke. And yeah, let's get started. This is going to be an interview style type video where we are talking about her experience from when she first started out on Zazzle, in terms of her desires, frustrations, her dreams, and also fears that she had when she first started out, because she was determined to be a stay-at-home mom so that she could raise her kids from home. So welcome.
Well, thanks for having me. No, I'm really excited to talk about this because if you're watching this and you want to watch all the way through, which I highly recommend, you're probably struggling right now in order to understand, what's going to work for you. How are you going to make this happen? And that was the hardest thing for me at the time, was to figure out which business idea should I try that wouldn't be a waste of time, that would actually work for me 10 years from now, and actually in this case 17 years from now, because that's what happened to me. Like Jen said, 2007, I kind of found Zazzle then, but I got really serious in 2008, and we've been on the platform ever since. And it's been wonderful for me because it's saved me from so many, financial situations where I could have been in desperate need of an income, and Zazzle was there because my store was working properly and earning me six figures profit, that I was able to not only have what you're looking for, is like a way to stay home with your kids, but have a life that is far beyond what I could have ever imagined, in terms of all those things that everyone always talks about, like time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom. It truly is. I'm a walking example of it, and I'm so excited to get all your questions answered by Jen interviewing me like this.
Yeah. So the first one is desire, in terms of your desires to have a flexible income from home and your journey finding that flexible income from home. Maybe you want to touch on that first of all, to give some stay-at-home moms perspective that not just the first thing that you find ends up being the end all and be all and the one that gets you the golden ticket to, earnings online.
Well, you know what? I went through a very traditional route. I did like university, and I even did postgraduate. I have a PhD, and I was already working in several industries and doing really well. But the thing that was always an issue, even though I was at a company, I won't say who they are, but it was a pharmaceutical company, and they were listed in Forbes as one of the top 5 companies of all time that was allowing women to have a career while managing their home time so they can also enjoy their family. Okay. And while I was at that company, despite it being great and the money was really great, I was earning six figures, there was not, I finally realized, hey, it's not true. It was very early on. Obviously, I'm really dating myself because I'm now in my 60s. But I think it's still happening today, where people claim things in a business structure, and then they actually don't, materialize. It's all on paper. It's like, oh, this is what we do. But then, the boss, who is your, person that's going to set your time, actually doesn't allow you to take it off, because she has a nanny, which is actually what happened in my case. So she would always show up like 5 minutes before I had to leave to pick up the kids. And she'd start talking to me about business. And I go like, could you schedule this some other time, please? And it just kind of got annoying and frustrating. And I realized, hey, no one was looking after me and my family. And so my desire was huge, where I said, well, I'm not going to give up my income, but I also really want that time freedom. And I don't want to be rushing to drive an hour back at night and an hour in the morning, rushing to wherever I needed to be in order to take care of everybody. And the one thing that was such a deep desire was one day Jen, her bless her heart, she goes like, "Mom, where are we going today?" Right? Because I had multiple babysitters, because some babysitters wouldn't allow me to have the kids there past a certain time. Other times they weren't available certain days. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is so frustrating. And so finally I go like, well, first of all, they're not having a good experience like my kids. And what am I doing this for? Just making the pharmaceutical company rich. Like I'm not getting anything out of it. Then the last straw was they said that my salary was kept unless I became a doctor rather than a PhD. And I'm going like, I just started at this company. I've already had two, increases in my position, and I've been told now that this is all I can get to forever and ever. And so at that point, it was like, nope, my desire is much bigger to achieve bigger things, even though I was already in a really top spot for what I was doing. And so that really gave me that desire to go like, hey, first of all, this life is crazy. I really don't like it. And then secondly, that there must be other ways to make money that don't involve me trading my time for money, right? And so that was the desire. It was huge. And I think everyone can relate. And whether it's, you're in a corporate job or you're 9 to 5 for some other job that's not even that taxing, or you're just tired of, the purpose isn't there, because that was the second part. There was this desire that, hey, I'd been doing all the things that everyone said I should do to have a successful career and life, and yet I wasn't happy. And that desire to be making money using my creativity, because I do have a lot of interests. I paint, I photography, writing. I'm just very creative. Even though I have a science background, I was also good at that. So I'm like very much always deciding on, which way is it going to be, and having been told constantly that you can't make money using your creativity, that I kind of go like, okay, well, I guess that door is shut. But then this opportunity came along with Zazzle, and even when I just kind of had enough with my career in the pharmaceutical industry, I realized, hey, I really just want to make this work. I don't care what people say about, making money with creativity is not going to work. I'm going to prove them wrong. I'm a smart girl. I can figure this out. And truly, there were a lot of different opportunities out there already that I had no clue existed. So once I started to explore, I realized I think I can make this work. And so that's how I ended up. Well, I didn't end up at Zazzle first. I ended up at a whole bunch of other um, places. And I have this big binder to remind me. It's all the things that I signed up for, that I put efforts into, and before I actually landed on Zazzle and made my first sale on Zazzle, because everyone else, all of the other places, every one of them, I just never made any money. And it's like, okay, you know what? Maybe they'll let me go back to the pharmaceutical industry. This is getting dire. And then all of a sudden, I started making money on Zazzle. I go like, yes, it was just a small sale. But it's like, nope, this is it. This is a sign from the universe. And so that allowed me, because I always looked at Zazzle, and I know that you put up the flexible income. Uh,
Mhm.
and that was my third desire, flexible, and have the income from home. And
Mhm.
so Zazzle ticked all those boxes, even before print on demand became something that people now know about. It was really hard to really understand the concept at first. You're going to post something online in this marketplace, and then you get paid, even though you don't have to, make the product. You don't have to
Yeah.
ship it. You don't have to deal with customers. But like, is this trustworthy that Zazzle's actually going to be paying me my money for using my designs? And then when it happened and it started getting paid, I realized, wow, holy smokes, there's a huge potential here. And so, and it ticked all my boxes.
Mhm. Yeah, no, we also, I was thinking along the lines of when I asked you that question too, not just the original where you came from your corporate job, but so many different sites, like you mentioned with your binder, that you were looking to make money online with. And Zazzle just became the one, because you didn't just stumble across Zazzle and all of a sudden everything was perfect. It was that you were doing a whole bunch of trial and error, including, talking about shipping and handling, where you and I, we would make certain products physically and try and sell them on Etsy. And that whole realm of, being and dealing with the customer service and everything was alleviating when Zazzle took that away from us, because it was just literally us having fun designing on Zazzle products, and then the magic happened, and then you got the money coming in when you made a sale.
I know, I know. And, things where people would buy my artwork or my canvases or anything that, and like Jen said, we did other things too. And all the profits would be eaten up because they were asking for a low price and they wanted the shipping for free. And it was just like, I'm done with this. Yeah.
Yeah. So the next question that I have is terms of your frustrations too when you first started out, because a lot of people, when they first start out on Zazzle, if you're watching this video, if you have a Zazzle store, or if you're thinking about starting on Zazzle, it's not, it's easy to start and it's free to start, but it's not easy to completely go through the entire process of becoming, a six-figure earner right away. And so there's a whole bunch of frustrations, especially with Elke and I, when we first started out, and we're speaking about Elke's journey here, but no one online, on YouTube, on Instagram, I don't even think really existed back then, was teaching how to make money online with Zazzle, right? One person who decided to create an online store with Zazzle back when we first started had to try and figure it out on their own, more or less. I mean, Zazzle definitely had some guidelines on their website, but in order to actually create a profitable business, that came with trial and error and a whole bunch of things that you had to learn on your own, right?
Yeah. And as you mentioned, like the biggest frustration was the low visibility, because if no one saw my products, then how could I get a sale, right? And back then, you're dealing with a whole bunch of stuff. This is 2008, 2009, but so many factors. If anyone remembers, 2008 was the housing crisis in the States. So even beyond visibility, it was just lack of people looking.
Mhm.
And then the people who were looking, then there was that other layer of trying to get those, like the SEO to work. And back then it was like every year Google would change its parameters so that even if you did have Zazzle put things up on Google in addition to their marketplace, it was always so challenging to figure out what those keywords were that you would have to put in your title or tags in order for your product to get any sort of visibility. But I'm almost thinking that that time of starting a business really created the things that I needed to do that still work today in my business, because it actually made me not cheat. Does that make sense? I had to learn, and had to understand business. I had to teach that to myself, because there was, as you said, nobody that was teaching, the framework on how to do this. Nowadays, you can, I mean, not for Zazzle, we're the only ones that teach a framework that gets you to six figures. But most of the advice online was so hokey, and everyone was very protective about what they, did in order to get those sales, and a lot of them actually turned out that it was volume bonus that Zazzle was paying people, and it wasn't their true. They didn't need to fit, like, trying to be nice about how to say it, but basically they didn't actually have to do a business properly,
Mhm.
because they were getting paid just to list and for like a sale here and there. And that's why in that 2013, Zazzle obviously couldn't continue to pay people the volume bonus, so it stopped. And that's when the true measure of how your business was doing actually became reality. And most people had a huge drops in their sales, and that never recovered. In fact, we have a whole bunch of people that are coming back now to our coaching program and our one-on-one sessions that are going like, yeah, I still haven't recovered from that. And that's 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But they still want to. And whereas in my case, I had to learn, and that's one of the reasons why it's my framework has been tested and tried, and works for me and Jen and Niall and everyone else that's in our coaching program, if they implement it properly. But that's the measure, and the visibility issue is just part and parcel, right? there's low visibility, but that's something that you can overcome. And especially now we have so many more tools. You start to learn a little bit more about your niche, which is how we teach this. And that's basically running a business. You have to understand the customer you want to sell to. Otherwise, you're not really doing your best to sell to someone. And when you do that, all of that other stuff like low visibility issues don't, they disappear because you know how to talk to that client. You know what
Yeah.
their keywords are that they want, you know what they want to have. So you know what they're searching for. It just all melts away if you do your business right.
Mhm. No, definitely. And I think a lot of people, and this is coming back now to if you are a Zazzle designer right now, or if you're thinking about Zazzle in general, of maybe it could be something of an opportunity for you, that when you first start out, it's this sort of like stereotype of a Zazzle designer that you're just either doing it for fun right now, or you think you can make some money, but you have yet realized that there needs to be a business plan put in place. Because a lot of our clients who come to us and now are our clients in our Profit by Design Academy coaching program and who have leveled up to our masterminds and one-on-one coaching, originally they had no idea when they first signed up for Zazzle that they needed a coach, right? So if you want to work out and get fit and, lose weight or become more healthy, you know that you need to hire a fitness coach. But not everyone is in the mindset when they first started on Zazzle that they need to have a coach, because it's easy to do it on your own. But the thing is that if you really want to become serious about it and make it a true business, you need to learn from people who have made the mistakes, who have done the things that you want to achieve. And so that's just a little plug for myself and Elke as coaches, because I really want to hone in on the fact that even if you're just watching this free content here, or if you've listened to our podcast, or previously you were part of our Facebook group, and you're just consuming our free information, that's just the beginning, right? And the second step is then actually taking action and investing in your own business, and investing in yourself, and then investing in a coach. Because truthfully, we have so many clients and that we have helped build to get to six figures, and we have collectively helped our clients sell over $165 million worth of Zazzle product. And those numbers, we can easily say them now, but when we first realized how much money people were making after our coaching, it's like, holy smokes. If people started with a coach right at the beginning, imagine the amount of money that we could have been helping create, or that you could have made from the beginning of when you first started out on your Zazzle store, right? So that's
Yeah.
just something little to say, because a lot of people don't realize that they need a coach right away.
Well,
And
and that's also what brings me to my dream, which I don't know if you've got that already on your
I
list.
was just about to bring that in, so you can slide that in there.
Well, because that was always my dream goal, right? Like my desire was I needed something different that made me happy, that ticked all my boxes, and they were a lot of requests, right? But the dream was this one business making me money while I didn't work. And at the time when I first started, I thought like that's impossible. And yet it has been possible for the last 17 years for me and for Jen when she started
Yeah.
and up till now. And I think that's the other piece that people forget. A lot of people start when they're desperate, right? When they need to pay their rent next week and
Yeah.
they don't even have the money for that. And now they think Zazzle is going to solve the problem. It's not, right? And people forget that it's not a Zazzle store that's important. It's that you've created a business using the Zazzle platform that fits what you want. That's whatever your dream is. Like, how does it get put together? Like, how many hours do you want to work? How much money do you want to make? And what else can I want to do on the side? What makes me light up? And
Mhm.
all of those things were part of my dream. And as I mentioned earlier, creativity was a big part of that dream. And I didn't realize also what kind of creativity I would be satisfied with, because the first thing everyone said is like, paint, or you know, art, or crafts, or photography, or something, whether it's surface pattern or digital art or Procreate or whatever. Where we love, as creatives, we love anything anyway, and we like trying new things and adding to our skill sets. But the creative aspect of not just even doing the designs, but doing the business. And that's also where people forget that as creatives, you actually have an incredible gift as a creative, because you can be creative in business as long as you applies the business parameters, then you can actually be very creative and create your own business the way you want it to be. And that just blew me away from it coming from you have to do this in order to succeed, and this is your life, and then you retire at this age, and then you're done. And it's like, no, in fact, it's been such a dream to have this journey of exploration and getting to know people and trying this. And so if just don't underestimate what's available to you when you create a business like what I have with my Zazzle stores, that just like don't just think Zazzle store money. It's Zazzle store money and life, which
Mhm.
is the dream. And I think that just I've traveled, I've dabbled in investments, I've written books, I've just had so much fun while my Zazzle business is churning out money because I don't have to work at it for too long every month. And that takes time. Obviously, that didn't happen overnight, but it's now happening for like 10 to 17 years, which is awesome. It feels like I'm an old dog, like it's like dog years and internet life years. It just seems like I'm ancient. But for anyone listening to this that's more like Jen's age, like think about your future. How do you want the next 10 to 15 years to look like? And this might be the perfect opportunity for you. And I personally, having been through that just now, I would say I would never do it any differently. It was so good to be able to have this cool, creative business on my own terms that gave me the money I wanted. And if I want to make more money, I just do more on my stores or on the platform. Or it's just amazing. It just really is amazing.
Yeah, and I liked that you touched on the point too that a lot of Zazzle designers, they come in almost out of desperation that some people like they think that this is their golden ticket to pay their rent next month. But
No.
it's not. And what I think people need to envision and inspiring, let's say also for the purposes of this video, stay-at-home moms or anyone in general, that if you have a vision and you might not even know what that vision is yet, but some sort of inkling that you can create an online business. Let's say you're very passionate about a certain hobby of yours, like sports, golf, or hockey, or if you're passionate about event planning, maybe you have young kids and you love planning their birthday parties. Like you can take that passion and turn it into a business, and Zazzle's just the platform that you can use to make that business come to fruition. It's just like opening up an Etsy store. It's just like opening up a Shopify store. However, everything is just all in one on this one platform. So you don't have to do as much work as the other platforms to create what you would call your business, right? And make a brand out of it. And a lot of individuals don't have or see that vision because you're not, first of all, comfortable with that or feel like you're capable and don't have the confidence. But
Mm,
Elke and I, when we first started out on Zazzle, and my own opinion of my own story is that, yes, it was very much like a little hobby where it was more income driven, where I'm like, I want money to go out with my girlfriends because I was in university. I want to go out for dinner and go see the movies. But then once it came to a point in time where I was making consistent income each month, like $5,000 to $6,000 a month, it was like, holy smokes, this is now something that I can actually make. Like, I feel good that I own this. And this is like as if I were to go to Walmart or Target or Louis Vuitton, right? And those are big brand names. But I, on a minuscule scale, and same with Elke, created our own brands which we now call ours and have been with us for the last 17 years. And so if you can see that, like Elke mentioned, where can you see yourself in 10 years from now if you decided today to start an online business and you have no idea what opportunities that will give you? We've traveled, like Elke said, we've written books, and those things were only capable and possible because we started out on our Zazzle businesses and just decided to take the leap, right? And we didn't look at it as a money driven thing as in its entirety. Yes, Elke needed to replace her corporate job, and I needed to somehow make some money to go out with my girlfriends on the weekends. But it turned out into something completely different, right? And now Elke and I are here doing interviews and coaching, and it's just become an amazing, wild ride of abundance and just learning experiences and feeling a lot more confident and comfortable with who we were as designers and defining us as that brand, right? Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, we can talk about all this and like in retrospect because now we have been successful. But one of the things that I did have a lot of during the time that I was working this out and trying to figure out, what's going to work for me consistently? How do I, get to scale to bigger numbers and earn more, etc., while not working as much? That was the fear of failing and thinking that I'm wasting my time. And because I'd already tried so many other things, and I'm going like, yeah, this is just another one of these things I'm going to put a lot of time and effort into, and it's not going to pay off, right? And
Yeah.
like, how much time do I have to put in before it pays off? And Jen and I, we have like, it's not a fun story to tell, but it's almost embarrassing. But both her and I, we struggled so much in the first couple of years, to the point where people probably, like, if we told them how it happened and that we continued to work on it and try to make it work, they probably thought we were nuts.
Yeah.
Because in our first year we worked like so hard on it, and in my first year, and also in Jen's, because Jen at that point, she goes like, I'm going to try and do it better than you, Mom. And the two of us kind of both had about $90 in earnings in the first year. And Zazzle doesn't even pay you out until
Until you
$100.
get 100, yeah. No, I had to wait. I had to wait the next year to get my payout check. It was quite embarrassing. Yeah.
It's very embarrassing. Yeah, it does a real number on your self-confidence, I tell you that much. But, I don't think you have to suffer and struggle as much as Jen and I did, because we now have a program that works, because it works for us. And then we finally decided, like, we could have kept this to ourselves. But at some point, and this is part of my journey, is, you know, I my husband passed away in 2015, and it was a traumatic experience for Jen, and for my sons, and for me, because he had been just given a clean bill of health, and after having a heart attack 2 years earlier. And it was really sad that this poor man had just sort of done everything necessary to get better, and then he was gone. What was worse was he made a ton of money doing his job, and so when he passed away, it was like, oh my gosh. And I was just so grateful that at that point in time, I was making almost $200,000 in US dollars from Zazzle in my stores, and that was per year. And so I felt so grateful,
Yeah.
and I thought, who else could be in this position? Who now is like happy with their family, everything's good, and then all of a sudden something happens. And thank God for my Zazzle business. And I thought, okay, I've got to teach others. There were so many people that were going like, how did you do this? Can't you just tell me all your secrets? And it's like, okay, I started, and I did that for a time, but it was weird because free doesn't mean action. So when a lot of people asked, and I spent a lot of time telling people how to do it, showing them. I had people at my house actually,
Yeah.
um, and we would go through it, and then we check back with them a couple of weeks later, and it's like, how's it going? I was like, oh, I haven't cracked it open yet. And at that point, I was like, okay, I do have this big desire to teach, but because I don't want other people to be in this situation like I was, and not have that fail safe in terms of my own independence financially. But how do we get people who are truly committed, right? Not just interested. And that's when we said, let's do some courses. And it's just, yeah, the rest is history.
Yeah.
We're so proud of all the people that have done exactly what I had hoped, where they now are confident. They're so proud of making their own online business. They have their own income separate from their husbands. They're, being able to support their husbands, or retire their husbands, or even just knowing that there's this nest egg there. And so that has been a pleasure, and truly grateful and honored to be part of other people's lives like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you touched on a really good point. I know that we don't really want to go into too much detail about what happened, but Elke said, my father passed away in 2015, and I mean, looking back and reflecting on it, I know that my mom and we started our courses, and it was a whirlwind of a time. But her and I mean, in this conversation now, I've learned a lot more, and we've had conversations like this afterwards. But I didn't see from the beginning my mom's passion exactly in the way that it was meant to be, right? For creating these online courses for people who possibly are in that situation as well. And I am a test to it. I'm not, obviously, I wasn't, my partner didn't pass away, but my father did. And so I was also, like in shock. In 2 years, I couldn't open my computer, and thankfully I had my Zazzle store working for me, and my income still coming in, because at that time, and I know this is Elke's story, not mine, but at that time I was living over in Spain and I had no job, didn't speak the language. I was learning how to speak Spanish a little bit, and I was not hireable. And it was also during like their income crisis and their whatever it was going on in the time then. And so my Zazzle store really gave me the opportunity to just finally take a breather, relax, and not think about anything and recover myself. And so both Elke and I's stories, in terms of the fact that, something happens, and knock on wood that everybody's safe and healthy and happy. But if there's a place where you just need to have that extra source of income, and or maybe you lose your job all of a sudden randomly, or something might happen in your course of life that you didn't really expect, and Zazzle gave us that opportunity with that cushion to allow us to figure out what was going on and recover and grow and move on and move forward. And so that's why I'm assuming, like, why Elka and I created these courses, is to help others not only create financial independence and live your dream life, but then also be very serious about it and say that this is life, right? Life is hard sometimes, and hard times need to have, certain actions or measures put in place. And if that could be a Zazzle business that is passively making income for you while you're not physically working on your job or at the job, right? Then it's a really great alleviator, I want to call it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so do not have those fears.
Well, fear of wasting time and money, I think that's one of, bringing it back to wasting
Yeah.
time and money. Also, not only like just, am I doing the right thing? A lot of our clients come into our coaching program, and that's the first thing they ask is like, when am I going to start making money? How much time does it take? When am I going to start selling? And also thinking of, okay, now I've invested in this course, or I've invested in my, even in our graphics programs. We had a coaching call today, and so many people said that they're trying to cover the cost of their subscriptions for graphics programs, Adobe Photoshop, all of that stuff. And so understanding that it's not like the fear of wasting your money on an Adobe Photoshop program in hopes of making sales on Zazzle. Like, we want to get you outside of that mentality, because yes, it is a real fear, but if you let those fears inhibit your actions, then you're just going to be stuck in this sort of limbo of, am I doing the right thing? Right?
Yeah, and you can easily say, probably not. But the whole idea is, if you have people around you that encourage you, that you can follow a plan that people have used and it's worked for them, and you check in with yourself every so often and go like, okay, is this me taking myself away from this opportunity? Because whatever, like, there's so many things that we deal with our clients, because we do have a mindset coaching call every month, and it's really important to address, what is it that's scaring you, this fear, right?
Yeah.
You may say, oh, I fear that I'm wasting my time, but what's the real fear? Because you're not wasting your time, right? Your time is always well spent. But the question is are you expecting your time to give you more results? If that's the case, then you have to ask yourself, what are you taking that time to do? And why are you setting these expectations that way? Maybe it's really important to take that time, right? Does that make sense? So you
Yeah.
flip it on its back. And yeah, and truly, what is the true fear? And it's not fearing a failure. Everyone is capable of things. Take Brandon. He is we talk about Brandon a lot because he allows us to, but he is one of the first people who came in, and it's kind of funny because most of our clients are women, and he's like the sore thumb sticking out. And it's not that girls, like females, can't do it and only men can, because we have a ton of women who are like as close to him as in his earnings as sorry, they are earning almost as much as he is, but he was one of the first to come in and go like, I bet you that this won't work. And then
Yeah.
going like, I bet you it will, because it worked for me. And so he has had this journey with us, always trying to disprove, because he likes to gamify things. And there's nothing he can say more than how amazing everything is, because it truly worked for him. And the reason that I have to say, hey, are you wasting your time? And you're fearing of that, is he wasted his time for 5 years trying to figure it out himself. And then all of a sudden he started with our program and things started to click. And so, and the gentleman is in business already. So it's not like he didn't have business background, but he didn't understand the Zazzle business. And I think that's really important, that you don't understand. If you don't understand something, admit it, admit that you don't know it, and allow yourself to not just get stuck in the fear that, you're going to fail, or the what else do we say, wasting our time or our money,
Yep.
because that's just you trying to create a story around that, because that's what happens to all of us. I created that story initially, because I came with at the whole business aspect of Zazzle with what I thought was already very educated approach, and then I had to just go like, no, I'm not wasting my time. I'm just not doing it right in
Mhm.
order to succeed. And I think that was a huge flip for me. And I hope that's one of the learnings you can take away from this.
Yes. No, definitely. And so to recap, this is thankfully, I was going to say thank you for watching this video as a recap, for learning about how to earn income for stay-at-home moms, and learning about Elka's journey and some of my story as well. And I hope that it inspires you who's watching to take the leap of faith, and also just explore the opportunities that might come to fruition. And you have no idea when you first open up that Zazzle store. And Elke and I have taken so many coaching programs, and we just actually got out of one coaching program course call just now. And it's like, you have no idea when you first start something, what is it that, who's going to talk to you? What experience are you going to have that changes the next outcome of your life, right? And manifestation and visualization and all of those things. And so if you just decide that this is your time, 2025 is the time for you to start an online business because you want to change your life and you want to stay at home with your kids more. And like Elke, don't want to drop your kids off at another random babysitter and not see them throughout the entire day because you're working a 9 to 5 job, or even shift work. Maybe you're not working, the original hours that like a lot of people do. Maybe you just need a change in your life, and this is something to inspire you, because Elke did it. And I am a result of a baby and a girl who grew up with a mom who was a stay-at-home mom, and I loved it. It was awesome.
Well, and I think I want to just end with that. Like, as much as like Jen has been inspired by me, and that is a huge bonus, because I've shown her that anything is possible. And if that's something you want to instill in your kids, and we have a lot of moms in our program that do that, and they show them exactly, their kids exactly what they do, and it inspires them. It opens up, and especially now in this day and age, there's 15-year-old millionaires out there,
Yeah.
because this is a whole other environment. But if nothing else, the dynamic of you as a mom forging the way to say, hey, I can be independent, I can set my own, get my own business started, I can do this even if there's struggles, is incredibly powerful, without having to lecture your daughter or anything, or your son. It's showing,
By
and
example.
teaching by action. And
Yeah.
I think that's just the best gift you can give your kids. So on
Yeah.
top of all the other things that result from this business.
Yes. So thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure that you subscribe and share this video with anybody who you think might be interested, right? Maybe they don't have any idea what Zazzle is, but they're wanting to be a stay-at-home mom, or somebody who just wants to make some extra income on the side and create an online business. And in the description of this video, we have a really, really great downloadable for you. Make sure you click on that link to get the free download to help you along your journey to success on Zazzle. And like this video. We always love feedback and comments, so comment on this video and let us know if you are a stay-at-home mom and you're looking to create financial independence like Elke did when she was younger and first started out on Zazzle. All right, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.